Good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Saturday. I know we don't always do an Energize Live on Saturday, but we are here, we are together, we're making the Energize. My husband's gone playing golf. We can talk about all the things all morning long. So welcome to Energize Live. This is where we make magic in the mornings, even on Saturday mornings. It's good to see you this morning. If you are watching this live, give me some comments or something in the comments so I can see you, so I know that you're on here. If you're watching this via replay, always tell me, just hit hashtag replay so that I know you're watching or listening to it like a podcast later. I do have something I want to talk about with you today, and I think it flows right into this idea that we've been talking about over the last several weeks of thriving during the holiday season. Now, I do have my tiny mic, and I can plug it in a little bit, but first we're going to make some Energize, and then we're going to talk about it. So tell me what's going on. Good morning from London. Oh my gosh. Tell me, what is your weather like in London? What is happening in London? This was my cup for first thing this morning. This is holding my ice this morning. This feels like a Londonish cup, doesn't it? Feels like a very London type situation. It's afternoon over there though, right? That's right. Yes, I like the tiny mic. I like the tiny mic too because I can strip the audio and maybe use it for a podcast. So is it cold over there? But do you have amazing coats? When I was in London, I've only been to London 2 times, and both times it was like everyone has the most amazing coats. It's like a Hallmark movie with everyone with their coats. I'm obsessed with it. I mean, if it's going to be cold, I want gorgeous coats, right? I want all the coats. Okay, so tell me what's happening where you are. Do you have your tree? Are you fully into Christmas, holiday season? And by Christmas, I really do mean holiday season. Maybe I should say holiday season. I really do mean holiday season. I mean, whatever holiday you celebrate, are you fully into it now? Are you kind of getting into it? I know I've got some friends in our Energize Life community that were getting their tree this weekend. Carrie's got a birthday that she's celebrating. Her son's turning 12 today. So it's almost a teenager. Rhonda says fully Christmas mode. What is happening in your life right now with your holiday season? Are you fully into the holidays? And it's interesting because yes, it's Christmas, but Christmas is not the only holiday that happens right now, people. And for some reason, people get so up in arms and like, oh my gosh, now we have to say happy holidays. Yes, you do, because there's more than one holiday happening right now, and that's okay, for heaven's sake. Can we be a little bit more kind and inclusive? So we're getting some lights up. It's cold in Minnesota. I'm so sorry that it's cold in Minnesota. Yes, all in for Christmas and whatever holiday anyone celebrates, right? Whatever holiday anyone celebrates. Tree is up, house decorating is done, a few more presents to buy. Wow, you're on top of it, buying your presents already. I have bought a few things, but we're doing a cruise. My girls are older, so it's like, we don't need to buy a bunch of presents. They're older, so we just don't need to. I love this time of year too. I love the season of it. We've just put lights on our palm trees. The tree is up. I love the music. I've got the music going right now. As soon as I get up, I get music going in the house. I get instrumental Disney Christmas music going on in the house. So I love all of it. I love just the whole festiveness of it, right? It's just so much fun. And someone asked me this week on a call that I was doing if I missed, she specifically asked about the fall, but I think it applies to the Christmas too. She specifically said, did you miss the chilly weather and the trees turning colors in the fall now that you're in Florida? And I said, I'm sure you can imagine what I said. I said, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I did not miss one. I had lots and lots of years of that. And I do not miss it one bit. And if I do miss it, if I'm like, ooh, I wish I had a little snow for Christmas. The beautiful thing about living in the warm weather state is that I could get on a plane, I could go somewhere for the weekend and have snow, and then I could come back to warm weather. if I live somewhere where it's cold right now, it's probably going to be cold for a very long time. That was the worst part, literally, about living in Indiana. Excuse me. And I think the Midwest in general. Like, I grew up in Illinois, and my husband and I have lived a lot of places, mostly in the Midwest. We did live in Texas for a few years. But I think that's the hardest part, is the overwhelming gray, like freaking gray concrete sitting on top of your head for like 6 months, right? Like October, stunning in the Midwest. Once it hits late October, November, I mean, gosh, Halloween here, my husband and I sat out on our porch, no jackets on. The kids are trick-or-treating. People are going up and down the street in their golf carts. The kids aren't wearing coats. It's just, I mean, it was glorious. And if we were back in the Midwest, it is a crapshoot on whether you would even be able to trick-or-treat or not. It could be sunny. It could be snowing. It could be rainy. You would have to wear a coat over, like the gray, just the gray that starts at the end of October. And I say this knowing that there are lots of people who are living it right now, and I don't mean to make you feel bad. I'm just saying I could not take it anymore. I could not take the gray, literally like a concrete blanket over my head. I already have seasonal affective disorder. It was, I couldn't do it anymore. And especially after the pandemic, and I just couldn't do it anymore. So it was like, it was time to get out. So to answer that woman's question, like, do you miss it? No, I don't miss it one single bit. I do not miss it one single bit. Okay, let me get my little cloth. Hold on one second. Okay, so quickly, I want to talk about something that was rolling around in my head yesterday. I hope you're here for a little bit of a conversation. Let me take a drink. Okay, here's what is kind of rumbling through my head right now. And we're definitely going to talk about this next week too, but I think it just flows right into this idea of thriving during the holiday season. So yesterday I did a quick daily dose of real talk about this word that is reciprocity. This word reciprocity has been, good Megan, we're going to have a little conversation. This word reciprocity has been like rolling around in my head for a while. And for a while, and I've been kind of attaching it and looking for where is this idea of reciprocity showing up in my life? Like, where is it manifesting in my life? Where do I want more of it? What does it mean? What does it look like? And I was listening to a podcast yesterday, and the phrase was said in the podcast, and I'm like, that's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm looking for. It's the idea of create versus consume. Create versus consume. And I think when people hear this term, create versus consume, they automatically think of content, right? I'm creating content or I'm consuming content. We hear that a lot. When I heard it, I thought, that's what I'm talking about with reciprocity. Create versus consume. Because to me, reciprocity is this beautiful give and take of energy. Okay, here's an example. Have you ever been in this situation? I also think of it as karma, okay? So have you ever been in a situation where something not so great has happened? It's not so great, and you're in a kind of on the bad end of a relationship, or it's just kind of a negative situation, and you're like, you know what? I'm going to put out the energy and be the kind of person that I know that I want to be, and I know that energy will always come back to me. That karma will come back to me. Karma will take care of it, right? And you put out the energy that you want, and you get that energy back, but you don't get it back from those people or that event. I know it's kind of hard for me. It's in my head. It's hard for me to explain. So, for example, I remember going through the pandemic and thinking, wow, as the leader of a team, I feel like I'm leading, and no one's ever really checking on me and asking how I'm doing through this pandemic. But I'm like, you know what, JV, take that out of your head and just put out the energy that you want to put out. that you put out the energy that you would want to receive back. So I did. I would put out the energy that I would want to receive back. And the funny thing is, I wouldn't receive it back from the people that I was putting it out to, but I would receive it back. Energy, 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 karma, right? Reciprocity. Energy out, energy in. This whole idea of energy. So when I heard this phrase yesterday, create versus consume, and I thought, oh gosh, I think most people think of that in terms of content. I have to create content more than I'm consuming content. I immediately thought of it as energy and in terms of reciprocity. How much energy, karma, good vibes are you creating versus how much are you consuming? That, to me, is reciprocity. So I think of it in terms, I run a lot of groups, right? Because of my coaching business, I run a lot of groups. I have a lot of message threads. I'm working with a lot of people. And within those groups and within those, yes, it's energy. Within those groups and within those message pods and within these relationships, there are people who will be on this end of it, and they will just be consuming your energy, consuming your energy, consuming your energy. You know, oh, thank you for motivating me. Thank you for, I just really need you to motivate me. I need you to inspire me. And they're consuming with no creation of energy, right? And then we have people over here, and these tend to be the leaders of the group sometimes, who are like, let me create. Let me give you this tool, this resource. Let me be here for you. Let me be a cheerleader. Support. And they forget that they also have to consume and keep their own bucket filled. And I think reciprocity, in its best sense, is a balance between the creation and the consumption. Now, here's the cool thing. We're in charge of both. So if you are in a relationship, if you're in a community, if you're in a group, if it's exactly why when you come on Energize Live, I'm like, this is an interactive experience. Because if I'm going to create, I don't want people on the other side who are just consuming. I want people who are also invested in the creation of the energy that we're doing together, right? It's why I'm always like, no, this is interactive. Because if I'm just tossing all this energy at the phone, at the universe, create, and the people on the other side are just consume. That's not reciprocity. To me, that's not a community. That's just me talking to a wall, right? Do you have these situations in your life where you feel like you're create, and people are like consume? So here's the deal. You also have to be aware of the places where you are consume. Because guess what? We all do that too. Where are you in a place in your life right now that you're in a group, you're in a community, you're in a message thread, you're in a relationship, whatever, and you're like, consume. Let me just lurk. Let me just lurk and take in all the stuff that everyone's dropping in, but I'm not going to create any energy and put it in the group. I'm just going to take it all in. Now, how's that reciprocity? Right? How's that reciprocity? So, this is what I want you to think about going in to the new week. I want you to think about going into the new month. I want you to think about it going into the new year. When we think about reciprocity, I want you to start thinking about this equation of create versus consume. Create versus consume. This is really good. Kiki, you realized you were creating a lot, but you weren't consuming enough to keep your own cup full. And here's the deal. Sometimes, if you are an alpha female, if you're a type A, it's really easy to get into the creation mode, which very easily transitions into the pusher mode. Anyone feel that? Because that's me. And I have to be very cognizant of that. I am a type A, alpha, Scorpio, independent, fierce female. And I can very easily go from creation of energy, which is one of my gifts. Intuition and galvanizing meaning, manifesting energy, galvanizing people to come together. Those are two of my gifts. I can really easily go from creating energy and in a positive sense into push mode, which doesn't serve anyone. Because now it just feels like you're some sort of general, or worse, a parent to a grown-up, which you're not. You know what I'm saying? So you've got to be really cognizant of the creation of energy versus the consumption of energy, and not getting into the pusher energy, because pusher energy doesn't serve anybody. And you know what it makes you feel? Resentful. It makes you feel resentful. So if you're, let's speak of this in terms of holidays. If you are the person who is, I'm going to do all the things for all the people for all the holidays, and you don't let anyone help you because you're like, I'm going to do, and you don't let anyone help you, you become resentful, frustrated, burnt out, and that's on you. That's on you. Now you're being a martyr, and that's on you. So, Megan, that's a great realization. You create a lot for work, and then you go elsewhere to consume, but you don't create in that group. So that's, I guess, I know it's probably not hard. It's just hard for me to try to find the words to articulate it. But I want you to think of the groups and the communities and the situations that you're in, both family-wise in the holidays and business-wise. If you are in a business group, I want you to get really real with yourself, gut check yourself. And let me speak to my coaches for a minute, okay? My team body coaches, because I know we have a lot of team body coaches who hang out with me, because that's what I am, that's what I do, and that makes me so happy that I can serve the network in that way. So if you are a team body coach and you are a person who's in a pod or a group or a community, and I want you to go back. Let's do this. I want you to go back and look in those pods, in those groups, in those communities, and I want you to look at the last time you created something, and by something, I don't mean content, I mean energy in that group. I want you to go back and look at that. So go back if you are a coach, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're in pods, if you're in groups, if you're in communities, if you've got success partners, relationships, whatever, I want you to go back and look, take in a gut check assessment. When was the last time you created energy in said pod, group, community, whatever? When I say create, remember, I'm not talking about content. I'm talking about energy. I'm talking about energy. When was the last time? And if you can't find the last time you've done it, you are consuming more than you're creating, and that's not fair to the group. That's not reciprocity. I'm just going to take that in for a moment. Because it's real easy to be hanging out in a community or a group or a pod or a message thread and be consuming, and then tell yourself, well, I just don't have anything to add. I'm not far enough along in my business. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. No one will listen to me. And then giving zero energy, not creating any energy in that group. When I'm talking about creating energy, I'm talking about, are you cheering people on? Are you supporting people? Are you showing up with your presence? Are you giving energy like other people are bringing energy to that group? Or are you just consuming it? Because that's a suck for the people who are creating it, right? It's like you're plugging yourself into an energy source, but you're not giving energy back. Okay, so that's a gut check. I want you to do that today. If you are a person, a female, who often has a lot of responsibilities during the holiday season, I want you to gut check how much of those responsibilities you are taking on without asking for help. Because are you just, I'm going to do it, and then you're not asking for someone to help you? That's a martyr. And now there's no reciprocity. There's no reciprocity there. So you don't get an award because you did all the things for the holiday season. Okay? No, that's not thriving during the holiday season. So I don't think that I'm explaining this super well. Sometimes it's got to rattle around in my brain a little bit longer for me to get it out in an articulate way. But I know that this word reciprocity, and I know that this phrase create versus consume, there's some meat there. There's some stuff there. There's something there that we need to be cognizant of. And every single one of us is in relationships, is in communities, by communities, I mean a digital online community. I mean an in real life community. I mean even as simple as, let's say you go to a farmer's market this morning. All these vendors are there. What kind of energy are you bringing into that farmer's market? I'm just using this as an example. And when you're purchasing something from a vendor, are you creating and manifesting energy back to them? My goodness, thank you so much for your hard work. Hope you have a happy holiday season. And there's this beautiful exchange of energy. Or are you just, let me just walk around and buy some stuff? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, we literally are responsible for the energy that we bring into the room. And we have got to be cognizant on if we're creating and bringing that energy or if we're just consuming it. Because when you get cognizant of that, and you're like, crap, I'm just consuming all this energy. How draining that must be for the person who's creating it. And I'm just over here taking it. I've just plugged my plug into that socket, and I am just taking all the energy. How draining that must be for this person. When you realize that, you also realize sometimes you're the person who's doing all the creating and other people are draining you. You also have to realize sometimes you're the person who's draining other people. We're all humans. None of us gets this perfect all the time. And the more cognizant, the more self-aware we can get, I think not only does this help us thrive during the holidays, but it helps us thrive all the time. Can you imagine having a holiday season where instead of you being a martyr and saying, I'm just going to do all the things, you actually go, hey, I need some help. I need some reciprocity here, y'all. I need some help. I need some people and then how much more fun is it for you to be doing some of these holiday activities together, because now there's a reciprocal exchange of energy, right? How much cooler is it for you to be in communities and relationships where you feel like you're an integral part of that community and that relationship, and that you bring value into that community relationship, and you're literally creating some energy in that group, that community, that relationship, and you feel like you're a necessary cog in that community, right? Like, how much cooler of a feeling is that than to be just the plug it into the socket. Let me take. Way cooler to feel this beautiful reciprocal exchange of energy. I'm going to give you one more example, and then you're going to go and do your things. Past couple weeks, my team and I have been working for a really big goal. And it would be really, I've been doing my business for 14 and a half years. It'd be really easy to get into my ego/pusher mode and think, I got this. I can do this. I know what I'm doing. That doesn't serve anyone. It doesn't serve me. It doesn't serve my coaches. I reached out and asked for some help. I brought in some other leaders to collaborate, because collaboration is the most beautiful form of reciprocal energy, right? That's where we really get to leverage each other's strengths and gifts. So I reached out, I shoved my ego out of the way and said, no, we've come too far to only come this far. We've done way too much mindset work, way too much personal growth. I've been working way too hard on myself, to let my ego get in the way. And I reached out and asked for help. And it was so cool to watch my coaches really thrive under getting the benefit of someone else's voice. Now, here's what's cool. I mean, it kind of gives me the goosebumps when I think about it. It actually does, because I think it's so cool. Because remember, we want this reciprocal energy, but you don't always get the reciprocal energy where you gave it. And I think that's our mistake, is we're looking for it. Well, I was nice to you, you should be nice to me. that it doesn't always come that way. But I got out of my own way. I asked for help, brought in some other leaders. They've been helping my coaches. It's been really awesome. And they have blossomed and they have bloomed, right? Here's where it gets cool for me. And this is where I think you'll get this. This week, another leader coach in the Team Body Network messaged me. And she said, it gives me goosebumps. She messaged me and she said, can you help me with a couple of my coaches? They're just struggling to get over the hump, and we're trying to get to this big goal at the end of the year. Can you help me? And I'm like, how cool is that? I got out of my own way and wasn't so create, push, and say, I need some help. I need to better balance my create versus consume. I need a little bit more reciprocity. I need to get my ego out of the way. My coaches bloomed. I got a message from someone on Monday or Tuesday, and she said, I need some help. I need to get my ego out of the way. Can you help me? And I got to bring that energy to someone else that someone had so generously given to me. I got to do that. That is called reciprocity. That is where the magic happens, because we get out of our own way and we realize that there's got to be a better balance, and we're looking for the energy to come back to us from the people that maybe we gave it to. Stop it. Energy is energy. Yes, Yoga Cabin. I really wish I knew your first name. You give one way, you expect it to come back from that same place. Yes. And that's not the truth, is it? That's not the case. Energy is energy. It's going to come back to you, but it might not come back from that same place. And I think we get hurt when it doesn't. Because we're like, but I was so nice to you. I gave you, I created, and you're just consuming and it's not coming back to me. And we forget to look around and go, wait, it is coming back to me, just in other places. Reciprocity. Create versus consume. I don't have all the answers to this, and I know I'm not being super clear in explaining it, but I want you to take this into this weekend and just let it rattle around in your brain like it's been rattling around in mine. Where can you create more reciprocity? Right? Where can you create more reciprocity? Where have you been sitting in this consumption mode in your relationships, communities, situations, and you haven't been giving any energy back? Well, that sucks for the people that are giving all the energy and you're just consuming. So stop it, because there are places where you're giving all the energy and other people are consuming it, and that sucks for you, right? So I agree, Katie. I think it comes back from where it's supposed to come back. The universe has a plan, but we as little teeny, silly, ignorant humans think it's supposed to come back from the place that we gave it to, and that's not the case. Energy is energy. It's currency that's flowing all around us. We just get so tunnel vision looking for it from this one direction because we put ourselves over. Energy is energy. So get more concerned with your reciprocity and your create versus consume balance rather than necessarily where it's coming from. Just get more consumed with the balance of it and gut checking yourself on where you are in that equation and where do you need to do a little bit more balancing out. Take that into this weekend. You're not going to have any, answers, but just don't look for some black and white clear-cut answers. Just let it rattle around in your brain and in your heart for a little bit and start being aware of the balance. Start being aware of where you can get these two, this create and consume, in better balance for better reciprocity. Because I think you'll feel better too. We'll feel better when we're actually contributing and bringing energy rather than just consuming. And remember, always, 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 I don't care what the situation is. I don't care what the relationship is. I don't care where you are, what they did to you, what they didn't do to you, I don't care. At the end of the day, you are responsible for the energy that you bring. Period. You are responsible. You're responsible for the energy you bring to this digital situation, to your workout, to your business, to your family, to I don't care where you are, what it is. You are responsible for the energy that you bring. And you want to have a more vibrant, creative life on purpose with purpose. Get in the driver's seat of your energy and it will change everything. You are responsible for the energy that you bring. Period. Okay, so I think we should just kind of continue to talk about this. It's like I feel like we're just kind of touching, think on it, and then maybe we'll talk about it again next week for Energize Live next week. Okay, and if you think of stuff during the weekend, message me, send me a DM, and let me know. And we didn't talk about. I'll just talk about it on my stories. We didn't talk about the 55 and 5. Let me go on my stories and talk about it now because I don't want to take up any more of your time on here. But think about this whole idea of reciprocity. Think about this create versus consume. We'll talk about it next week. And if you think of anything, you have any light bulb moments, send them to me via DM because I'd love to hear them. Okay, have a great Saturday.